In the quiet suburbs of Springfield, Illinois, a frantic 911 call shattered the calm on August 29, 1995. Mark Winger, a respected nuclear engineer, claimed he had just saved his wife, Donna, from a violent intruder, a man wielding a hammer, who had attacked her in their home. The police arrived to find two lifeless bodies, Donna Winger lying in a pool of blood, and Roger Harrington, the alleged attacker, dead from a gunshot wound. To everyone around him, Mark was a grieving husband and a hero. For 6 years, his account went unchallenged. But hidden beneath the surface was a far darker truth, one that would unravel in ways no one could have anticipated. Mark Winger and Donna Brown Winger appeared to be the embodiment of a happy, successful couple. Living in Springfield, Illinois, Mark worked as a nuclear engineer, a well-respected profession that afforded them a stable and comfortable life. Donna, a healthcare worker, was known for her warmth and kindness. The couple was excited about their future, especially with the recent adoption of a baby girl, Bailey, who was just a few months old in the summer of 1995. But behind the scenes, life wasn't entirely perfect. A few days before the murder, Donna had shared a troubling experience with Mark. While returning from a trip, she had used a shuttle service from the airport. During the ride, the driver, Roger Harrington, acted erratically, muttering to himself, driving dangerously, and generally making Donna feel unsafe. She told Mark about this unsettling encounter, and Mark, appearing protective, expressed outrage. He even reported the driver's behavior to the shuttle company. Roger Harrington, the shuttle driver, had a history of mental health struggles and erratic behavior. At the time, he was navigating significant personal and professional difficulties. Though he was reprimanded for his behavior with Donna, this single incident would unexpectedly entangle him in a far more sinister plot. On the surface, the Wingers seemed to bounce back from the incident. To their friends and family, they were devoted new parents living a picture-perfect suburban life. No one could have predicted how these seemingly unrelated events would intersect in a shocking crime that would leave two people dead. On the afternoon of August 29, 1995, Mark Winger made a frantic call to 911, claiming that a violent altercation had erupted in his home. According to Mark, Roger Harrington, the shuttle driver who had unnerved Donna days earlier, had entered their home uninvited and attacked Donna with a hammer. Mark told dispatchers that he had acted in self-defense, shooting Harrington to protect his wife. When the police arrived at the Winger residence, they found a gruesome scene. Donna lay on the floor of the dining room, fatally injured from multiple blows to her head. Nearby was Roger Harrington, his body slumped over and lifeless, with a gunshot wound to his head. A hammer, allegedly the weapon Harrington used, was on the floor near Donna. The police noted signs of a violent struggle, with blood spatter patterns suggesting a chaotic and deadly encounter. Mark explained that Harrington had barged into their home, immediately attacking Donna. In a desperate bid to save her, Mark retrieved his handgun and shot Harrington twice, killing him instantly. The story seemed plausible, given Harrington's documented history of erratic behavior and the earlier complaint Donna had lodged against him. The investigation that followed was brief. Police initially treated the incident as a clear case of self-defense. They reviewed Mark's account, examined the crime scene, and found no immediate evidence to dispute his version of events. Friends, neighbors, and colleagues rallied around Mark, praising him for his bravery and mourning the tragic loss of Donna, a young mother taken too soon. With no further questions asked, the case was closed. Mark Winger, now a widowed father, appeared to be the victim of a tragic and violent intrusion that had robbed him of his wife. But what no one realized at the time was that the crime scene, carefully staged to support Mark's story, concealed a far more sinister reality. For 6 years, Mark Winger's story of heroism went unchallenged. He lived as a grieving widower, raising his adopted daughter, Bailey, and eventually marrying the family's former live-in nanny, Rebecca Simic. To those around him, Mark was a model father and a man who had survived unimaginable tragedy. However, cracks in his carefully constructed facade began to form when questions about his behavior and the events of August 29, 1995, resurfaced. The turning point came when Donna's best friend, Deanne Schultz, approached investigators. Deanne revealed troubling details about Mark's actions both before and after Donna's death. She disclosed that Mark had confided in her about his dissatisfaction with Donna and had even discussed fantasies of her being out of the picture. In addition, Mark's quick remarriage to Rebecca raised eyebrows, with some questioning how he had moved on so easily from such a traumatic event. Spurred by Deanne's statements, investigators decided to reopen the case. This time, they scrutinized the evidence with fresh eyes and uncovered a series of inconsistencies that painted a very different picture from Mark's original account. 1. The note from Harrington. Investigators found a handwritten note in Roger Harrington's car detailing Mark's name, address, and an invitation to visit the Winger home. This directly contradicted Mark's claim that Harrington had barged in uninvited. It suggested that Harrington had been lured to the home under false pretenses. 2. Forensic evidence. The blood spatter analysis and bullet trajectory at the crime scene raised significant doubts about Mark's version of events. The positioning of Donna's body and Harrington's injuries did not align with the story of a spontaneous attack and self-defense. Instead, the evidence indicated that both Donna and Harrington had been deliberately positioned to support Mark's narrative. 3. Witness testimonies. Deanne's confession about her affair with Mark revealed that he had been unfaithful during his marriage to Donna. This revelation, coupled with Mark's financial motivations, a hefty life insurance policy on Donna, provided a compelling motive for murder. As investigators pieced together these findings, they realized that Mark had orchestrated a chilling and calculated plan. He had invited Harrington to the house, using the shuttle driver's troubled history, to create the perfect scapegoat. Once Harrington arrived, Mark murdered both Donna and Harrington, staging the scene to appear as a home invasion gone wrong. The evidence was damning, but it would take a trial to expose the full extent of Mark Winger's deception. With new evidence and testimonies in hand, investigators began unraveling the carefully staged crime scene and Mark Winger's web of lies. What initially appeared to be an open and shut case of self-defense now pointed to premeditated double homicide. The investigation delved deeper into Mark's motives, actions, and the hidden layers of his plan. By 2001, investigators had compiled enough evidence to charge Mark Winger with the murders of Donna Winger and Roger Harrington. The once respected nuclear engineer and grieving widower now faced the stark reality of his crimes coming to light. The case, which had gone unquestioned for years, became a symbol of how manipulation and deceit could mask the truth, until relentless investigators uncovered it. Mark's trial would expose the full extent of his betrayal, but the reopening of the case marked a turning point for both Donna's family and the pursuit of justice. Mark Winger's trial began in 2002, 7 years after the murders of his wife Donna and Roger Harrington. The trial became a pivotal moment, exposing the depths of Mark's deception and unraveling the facade of a grieving widower who had been hailed as a hero. With a mountain of evidence and compelling testimonies, prosecutors built a strong case against him. Prosecutors argued that Mark wanted to eliminate Donna to pursue a new life with their live-in nanny, Rebecca Simic. Financial gain was another key motivator. Mark had quickly claimed the $150,000 life insurance payout following Donna's death. The note in Harrington's car was presented as irrefutable proof that Mark had planned the encounter. Prosecutors painted a chilling picture. Mark invited Harrington to the house under the guise of a discussion about the airport shuttle incident, intending to frame him as a violent intruder. Forensic experts dismantled Mark's original narrative. Blood spatter patterns indicated that Donna was struck from behind, not during a struggle as Mark claimed. Harrington's position and gunshot wounds suggested he was seated and unarmed when he was shot, contradicting Mark's claim that he fired in self-defense. Donna's friend, Deanne Schultz, testified about her affair with Mark and his expressions of frustration with Donna. She revealed that Mark had previously fantasized about Donna being gone. Forensic experts detailed the inconsistencies between Mark's account and the physical evidence, leaving little doubt about the premeditated nature of the crime. Mark Winger's defense team stuck to the original story of self-defense. They argued that Harrington, who had a documented history of mental instability, came to the Winger home uninvited and attacked Donna. Mark, they claimed, acted instinctively to protect his wife and himself. The defense attempted to discredit Deanne Schultz, portraying her testimony as the bitter words of a scorned lover. They also suggested that Harrington's past behavior lent credibility to Mark's initial claims. After weeks of testimony and evidence presentation, the jury deliberated for several hours. They returned with a guilty verdict on 2 counts of first-degree murder. The evidence of premeditation and manipulation was overwhelming, and Mark Winger was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The trial was an emotionally charged ordeal for Donna's family. They finally received justice for their beloved daughter and sister. But the revelations about Mark's betrayal added another layer of pain. For Rebecca Simic, who had married Mark and raised their adopted daughter as her own, the verdict was devastating. She had believed in Mark's innocence and built a life with him, only to learn of his crimes alongside the rest of the world. Donna's family had spent years mourning her tragic death, believing it was the result of an unpreventable act of violence by a troubled man. When the truth emerged that the person they trusted most, her husband, was behind her murder, it was a devastating betrayal. Donna's parents and siblings became outspoken advocates for justice, ensuring that her story would not be forgotten. The family remained dedicated to preserving Donna's memory and supporting Bailey, the daughter she never had the chance to raise. Rebecca, now a single mother, faced immense public scrutiny. Many questioned how she could have been unaware of Mark's actions, despite there being no evidence to suggest she was complicit. In interviews after the trial, Rebecca described the emotional toll of learning the man she loved was a murderer and her efforts to provide a stable life for Bailey, despite the stigma. Bailey Winger, who was just a baby at the time of Donna's murder, grew up in the shadow of her father's crimes. Raised primarily by Rebecca, Bailey had to navigate the challenges of living with the legacy of a father who was both a convicted murderer and the man who had adopted her. Despite the challenges, Bailey has been shielded from much of the media coverage surrounding the case and has largely maintained her privacy. The Mark Winger case remains a powerful reminder of how appearances can be deceiving. Mark's calculated actions and ability to manipulate those around him highlighted the importance of thorough investigative work and revisiting cases when doubts emerge. The case also prompted discussions about domestic violence and how financial and personal motives can drive even the most seemingly normal individuals to commit heinous acts. Mark Winger continues to serve his life sentence in an Illinois state prison. He has maintained his innocence, despite the overwhelming evidence presented at trial. His appeals have been consistently denied, leaving little hope for any reversal of his conviction. The case of Mark Winger is a haunting example of how the truth can hide behind a carefully constructed facade. For years, Mark Winger lived as a grieving widower, a hero who had defended his wife from a supposed violent intruder. He earned sympathy, admiration, and trust from his community, all while concealing the sinister reality of his actions. What makes this case so chilling is the calculated nature of Mark's crimes. He exploited Roger Harrington's troubled history, crafting a narrative that played on the assumptions of investigators and the public. His meticulous planning, from inviting Harrington to the home to staging the crime scene, allowed him to live freely for 6 years before the truth finally surfaced. For Donna Winger's family, the revelations were a devastating blow, compounded by the betrayal of the man they had once considered family. The courage of investigators to reopen the case, combined with the persistence of Donna's loved ones, ensured that justice was served, even if delayed. This case leaves us with lingering questions about trust, appearances, and the nature of evil. How many other crimes have gone unquestioned, their perpetrators walking freely because their lies were never challenged? And how many lives have been forever altered by the betrayal of someone they trusted most? What do you think about the Mark Winger case? Were there warning signs that were missed? Or did Mark's deception make him nearly impossible to uncover until new evidence emerged? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth true crime stories.